Okay, this video is going to show you how to do a Donkey Kong style block entry for your high score. So what we're going to do is we're going to modify this one, so you need to follow fully the two parts of the single line video, because all the code's practically the same, okay, apart from how we place all the characters. So if you follow those two videos, then what we're going to do is we're going to modify that code. So let's have a go at doing that. Let's kill this. Right then. So in high score entry, okay, we've got all this code. So you should have this if you followed that video. The line entry track, that's the code we're going to muller. Okay, we're going to change it so that we can create a different score table layout. That's all we're doing. The code doesn't need to be any different for how the menu works or anything. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to build, instead of one line, I'm going to build 3 lines plus a rubbing in the end character at the bottom separate. Okay, so I want to build 3 lines up. I'm going to store the final line I make in TDI entry, so I don't have to change any of my menu code or anything. Okay, but it isn't going to work like this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to first off define where my first row is. So I'm going to start it at 100. So I'm in score entry line track. Okay. What height should we go for? 200. I might do 250. So the first point of the top row is going to be there, and 700 for the other one at a height of 250. That's line 1, that is. Okay, so I'm going to say top row, and I'm going to store that temporarily, that one. So I'm going to create a local track definition called TD top row, and I'm going to use the track helper to create my points. Now, when editing a line, I add the alphabetic characters, which is 26 plus a space. So that made 27 characters. So if I'm going to put this over 3 lines, that's going to be 9 points per line. So I'm going to say, call this one top line, ask for 9 points from that thing called points that I've just created. Okay, so that's creating my top line. I'm now going to do the same thing. I'm going to say points equals new, and you must do this, otherwise this will not work. New vector 3. So we're using the same thing, but we've created a new space in memory. That's what that does. So the next line is going to be, that was at 250, and I want it to line up at the left and right edge the same. So I'm going to say points.add new vector 3. I'm doing it the long way so that you should as well. Don't be lazy and copy and paste, because you'll make errors. Okay, so the start for the second line is going to be there. Vector 3, 700, 350. Okay, and I'm going to store this track in something called mid row. In the exact same way, track helper dot points midline, and I want 9 points again. Okay, so again I'm getting it, or everything to do the hard work for me. Right, I am getting lazy now, so I'm going to do the bottom row by copying and pasting, and I want it at 450, the bottom row. Let's call that bot line, and let's store it in bottom row. Okay, so I've got 3 lines. The top one at 250, the middle one at 350, and the bottom one at 450. Okay, now what I want to do is, let's just delete that line. I want to create my graphics.2d high entry, and I'm going to use the track helper to join these three separate tracks together. So I'm going to say track helper. Now you've got to be using 7.0.2.1 for this to work, because it don't exist. Not in this format, it don't anyway. So I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call it score entry, the name, and then I'm going to do something clever. So this is going to be reasonably long. So I'm going to go on to the next line, and I'm going to say new track definition, square brackets. Then I'm going to have a brace, and then I'm just going to list the order that I want these tracks to be joined together. So I'm going to say TD top row, TD mid row, comma, TD bot row, closing brace, and then I need a bracket to close off the join, and a semicolon. So what that's going to do is going to combine those three tracks together for me and store them in a track called TDI entry. Okay. Right, this next bit, we still need to place the rub and end characters. Now you're going to need a little bit of guesswork for these because they're a bit wider than the normal characters. So I'm going to try 120, and I'm going to put it at 550, and that's where the rub character's going. And let's try 680, and at the same height, 550. So again, I've got 9, 18, 27, 29 points. So I shouldn't actually have to change anything else. This should just work. Okay, let's try it. So it should look like a Donkey Kong one. Run it, fingers crossed. It might not be lined up brilliant, but we'll see. So I'm going to press 1, and there you go. There's my space, my rub and my end. Oh, my rub wasn't far out, but my end was, so I need to mess with end. Get that in the right place. So let's have a HB. Go back to end. There you go, HB's got the best score. Okay, so let's just, I'll come out of that. Right, let's just review. So it's exactly the same as the other video, but we just changed the track. Okay, so theoretically you could have done something a bit jazzy in that. Let me just show you this. You don't have to have them in a nice straight line like that. What I could do, just comment all of that out. I don't need that either. Okay, so don't do this to yours because you're going to butcher it. And you'll be going, oh no, what have I done wrong? Saga. So TDI entry, so I'm going to ask the track helper, and I'm going to say, you know what, I want an ellipse. No, let's go for a circle. Now let's go for an ellipse. Let's create an ellipse. So this is going to be my score entry. That's what I'll call it. Number of points. I want 29 points, thank you very much. My center, I want to be the screen center, so I'm going to say new vector 3. So it's going to be screen size dot center. This line's going to get quite long. Screen size dot center dot y 4000. Okay, right. So let's just break that onto the next line, and again onto the next line. I can't remember the next protecting thing, was it? Comma. Right, radius of the x, so let's do 300. Radius of the y, 200. Okay, see how we go with that. So I've changed the track. So this shows how awesomely flexible doing it with tracks is. So when I go to my iScore display this time, I've got a ruddy circle. Okay. And I'm going to show you how to modify this to create the Sega menu. Okay, so exactly the same thing. What you might want to do if you do it like this is, that's a stupid place to do it. Let's show that again. So if I do the BBB, it'd be better obviously to have it in the center of the screen, the initials display. But that just shows you, using tracks, you can do some crazy stuff really quick. and I'll use it for the Sega menu afterwards. Okay, so that was your Donkey Kong one. Let's just prove that I can just switch it back without breaking it. Let me just stop that. So comment that out. Uncomment all the other code. So I haven't changed any menu code or nothing. Run it and it'll look like Donkey Kong. So in previous videos I've switched between all these by just using key pressers. So changed the track formats and rebuilt the menus and things. There you go, back to Donkey Kong one now. Okay, nice and dandy. Okay, so the Sega menu is the other one that I'll do, and it'll be based off the back of this. Okay.